Can you let me know how you're feeling, Mrs. Jones?
God, I feel awful. I haven't been able to breathe all night. And my feet have swollen back up again, and even though I've been taking those water tablets the doctor gave me, I just feel just completely fed up.
Right. I can see that you're having some troublesome symptoms, and we'll try and do what we can to try and make those a little bit more manageable for you, and hopefully you'll be feeling a bit better soon.
Well, I think this time I want a bit more of an influence on what happens to me.
What do you mean?
Well, the last time I was in here, I was coming around and I was so unwell. And I just felt like I was being passed from pillar to post, and I just felt that, you know, nobody was listening to me, and it was just really, really upsetting.
You certainly sound very upset.
Well, it made me angry more than anything. I just felt like people weren't listening to me. You know, nobody asked me about the treatments I wanted. Nobody asked me about what I thought about the future.
Well, I'd like to listen to your choices. What can I do to help?
Well, I've written something down, which means that my choices will be respected in the future, even though, you know, I might not be able to say what I want.
Right.
And now I know that because I'm actually telling you now, and I can say what I want, that those preferences would have to be adhered to.
Right.
But what I'm concerned about is, even though I'm talking to you about it now, you know, if something happens while I'm here, then maybe nobody else would understand what I want.
What sort of treatments do you mean?
Well, I talked to my GP and my specialist about it, and we clarified the actual treatments I don't want to have. Now, I was in here before, and it was awful. I was chatting to an old lady, and then she suddenly started having a cardiac arrest. And, you know, the screens were put around, but you could still hear everything, and it sounded absolutely awful. I mean, I was only speaking to her, you know, 5 minutes beforehand.
That sounds very difficult for you.
It was, and it made me realise that what I don't want to happen is that if I do have a cardiac arrest, I don't want to be resuscitated.
Is this what you've discussed with your GP and your specialist?
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be resuscitated, you know. I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be brought back.
Right. From listening to what you're saying to me, I just want to clarify, you do realise that if your heart were to stop beating as a result of your heart disease, and if we didn't resuscitate you, then you would die.
I do realise that, but, you know, I'm not stupid. I know I haven't got that long left, and my heart's really bad. And to be honest, I don't want to go through all those heroics. I just want to be left alone, I suppose.
So what is it that you've written to ensure that your wishes are followed?
Well, this is what I went through with my GP. It's called an advanced decision to refuse treatment.
Right. I've not actually seen one of these before, Mrs. Jones. Would you mind if I took it with me and discussed it with the A&E sister? And then we can go through it together, just to ensure that what you've written is something that we could actually respect. And then we can go through it with you together. Would you mind if I took a copy?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Right, I'll be back with you in a moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, Mrs. Jones. I'm Sister Bennett. Staff Nurse Smith has given me this document to come and talk to you about.
Yeah.
Okay. It's your advanced decisions to refuse treatment.
Right.
Okay, what we need to do is we need to go through this briefly to make sure that what is written down here is actually what your wishes are, and we can follow them through.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Now, what I must say to start with is that whenever you're able to tell us what you want and what you don't want, that's fine, and you just carry on telling us, all right, and we'll respect your wishes from there. But this only actually becomes active when you can't do that, when you lose capacity to do that.
Right.
Okay. Now, what we need to do firstly is actually go through some essential elements of this document. Okay, and I'll go through that with Staff Nurse Smith. Now, we can either do that here, or we can go somewhere else and do that.
No, I'd rather hear what you're talking about.
Okay. Right. So let's go through the essential parts of the document.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually find a list of the essential parts of the advanced decisions to refuse treatment on the hospital intranet.
Right.
So we can look at that later.
Yes.
Right, so we have the patient's name, Nancy Jones, and her address, date of birth 13/5/34. Okay, and it even mentions a birthmark on her arm, so we know for certain it's her. Okay, now your GP helped you draw this document up?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so we've got his name and telephone number, so we can actually contact him in the future if we need to.
Right.
And that's not essential, but it's useful.
Yeah.
The document clearly says it can only be used when she cannot convey her own preferences as she has lost capacity.
Right.
Okay, and it goes on to say, it's very specific, that she does not want to receive cardiopulmonary resuscitation if she had an arrest due to her heart disease.
Yeah.
It even goes on to say that this is her wish, using the phrase, even if my life is at risk. Is that right? So that clarifies that she understands that she will die if she does not receive this particular treatment.
Right.
Okay. Now we've got a clear signature here and last week's date.
Yes.
And the witness to this document is a friend, and we have the friend's the signature there, and his name and telephone number, so we can contact him if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we have your son down here as well, and his telephone number, so we can actually ring him and discuss any healthcare issues that she may have.
Right.
Again, this is just helpful information, it's not an essential component of an ADRT. And then finally down here, she gives us permission to actually discuss her choices with her family.
Yes, that's right.
That is last week's date, so it's been updated quite recently. So the document appears to be a clear refusal to cardiopulmonary resuscitation following an arrest due to your heart condition. And we would follow these instructions if she had an arrest, as it's valid and applicable.
Okay.
Okay. Now what I need to do is I need to take a copy of this and make sure it goes in your medical notes.
Mm-hmm.
And I also need to go and discuss with the consultant that's looking after you to make sure he's aware of the conversation that we've had just now.
Okay.
All right. And then also when we've established which ward you're going to, then I will make sure the ward staff know of the existence of this advanced decision to refuse treatment, and so they will follow that through as and when it's needed. It's needed, all right?
Yeah.
Okay. And as I said before, whenever you can tell us what you want and what you don't want, you just carry on doing that, and
Okay.
we'll listen. And this will become active when you're not able to do that.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'll be back with you in a moment.
Okay.